where the sun is shining. Yes, that is right. It is a nice day for baseball. It is an American League Central matchup, the Kansas City Royals against the Cleveland Indians from Progressive Field. And today it is a big day for the Indians because they are honoring a legend. The entire team was out earlier this afternoon. A real legend was here. Hank Aaron for his friend Frank Robinson, who was the first African-American manager in all of Major League Baseball. Today, the statue was unveiled here in Cleveland. We'll be joined later on in the broadcast by Frank Robinson himself to talk about that. And hello there, everybody. Justin Kutcher alongside Tom Verducci. And Tom, let's first talk about what happened last night. A 6-4 win for the Royals. They beat the seemingly unbeatable Cleveland Indians bullpen, thanks in large part to Eric Hosmer. For the Indians, though, it's almost impossible these days to talk about them without talking about Francisco Lindor.
One of the best young players in baseball who keeps getting better. Listen, we knew this guy could hit for average. We knew he could pick it at shortstop. We knew he could run the bases. We didn't know he had this kind of pop. 10 home runs, leads all Major League shortstops from a guy who had 15 last year. Comes into this game with an 11-game hitting streak. But that's not even the hottest bat in this game. That would belong to Eric Hosmer, hitting .374 in the month of May, second in the American League. And oh, by the way, he loves the matchup today against Danny Salazar, the Cleveland starting pitcher. Salazar leads all starters in strikeouts per 9 innings, but when it comes to this matchup, look at those numbers. Eric Hosmer has Danny Salazar's number.
Speaking of numbers, there is Frank Robinson, who was a player manager here for the Cleveland Indians. And we showed you the statue unveiled earlier today. His number retired here in Cleveland as well. One of the living legends of the game. Ned Yost, the manager for the Royals. His Royals team 20-27 on the season. The Indians at 24-22. Terry Francona. The job that he has done leading this Indians team to the World Series. Last year, lost in the 7th game here at Progressive Field against the Chicago Cubs. If I'm not mistaken, the last time that my partner Tom Verducci was here at this ballpark, it was for Game 7.
It was a fairly big game. I think I remember that night. Got a little wet at the end. The greatest, if you're a Cubs fan, 17-minute rain delay in history.
What a night that was. Here is a look at the standings in the Central. One of the surprise teams in all of baseball, the Minnesota Twins. Right now a 2-game lead over the Indians entering today with a record of 25-19. I don't know many people who predicted the Minnesota Twins to be in first place on May 27th.
Defense has been a big key for the Twins. And how about Irvin Santana pitching like a Cy Young candidate in the first quarter of the season?
Well, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Kansas City Royals. Alcides Escobar will lead things off and play shortstop. Mike Moustakas will bat second and play third. Lorenzo Cain in center field bats third. Eric Hosmer will bat cleanup and play first. Salvador Perez at catcher will bat fifth. Jorge Bonifacio had a big hit last night. He will play right field and bat sixth. Brandon Moss will DH. He'll bat seventh. Whit Merrifield at second will bat eighth. And Alex Gordon will bat ninth and play left field. And they will face the right-hander Danny Salazar, who is 3-4 on the season, a 5.55 ERA. His numbers don't match his stuff. He's got really good stuff, but the numbers aren't there. How about the keys to the game, sponsored by Ford when looking at Salazar?
Well, for me, you're talking about the Royals, a very aggressive team going up against a guy who has trouble sometimes with command. Talk about jump street for Danny Salazar. That means first inning. A lot of problems in the first inning. He needs to be focused from the first batter, not the 9th or 10th. Little league change. The same grip he learned the changeup with at the age of 8 is what he has now.
The defense behind Salazar in the outfield from left to right. Michael Brantley, Austin Jackson, Daniel Robertson around the horn in the infield. There is Francisco Lindor at shortstop. Jose Ramirez at third. Jason Kipnis at second. Carlos Santana at first. And Yan Gomes behind the plate. Alcides Escobar. moved up into that leadoff spot. The numbers, you wouldn't think really leadoff hitter. And he swings at the first pitch at 93 and fouls it back 0-1. But his numbers on the season, 175, no home runs, 8 RBIs. And speaking with Ned Yost, he just said, look, you know, we needed to make a change. We weren't playing well. And it makes no sense to have Escobar bat leadoff, but it made no sense when we were going to the World Series and he was batting leadoff, and it worked then.
You know, if you're a believer in feng shui, the power of where you place objects, that's what Escobar is as a leadoff hitter, because you look at his numbers, and I'll be honest with you, they're terrible for a leadoff hitter. There's nothing to suggest you would want to get this guy up more times than anybody else in your lineup. But here he is.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Escobar. This Royals team, and we'll talk about it throughout the broadcast. This is a team with a lot of decisions to be made. Ground ball to second base, kind of eats up Kipnis. Bare hand throws to first, not in time. And Alcides Escobar will reach base on the error to Jason Kipnis.
This ball just handcuffed him. It came up a little bit. You see that? And gets into his body right there. Very unusual to see that kind of a hop. First batter of the game. Obviously, the infield's in pristine condition at this point of the game. The power of feng shui.
Doesn't make sense, but it works. Mike Moustakas now at the plate with a shift on. And he's first pitch hacking. Fouls it off the restaurant over there in left field. 0-1.
You see the shift there. Now, you mentioned first pitch hacking. A big difference this year, and Mike, very aggressive, especially first pitches, but anything near the plate, he's been a much more aggressive swinger.
Moustakas pops one up, foul territory again. Brantley going over for a look. This will reach the seats. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. I think anybody at home watching right now is looking at these uniforms as Moustakas on the season, 249, 12 home runs, 25 RBIs. And they're saying, wait a minute, those aren't the usual uniforms for the Indians or the Royals. What's going on? Well, it's Memorial Day weekend. So special uniforms worn by all the teams across Major League Baseball. They'll be worn the entire weekend, today, tomorrow, and on Monday. 0-2, foul back. The league will donate the licensed uniform royalties to MLB charities used to support programs for military veterans and their families. A great way to honor all our veterans here on Memorial Day.
This count here should get a look at the split change from Danny Salazar. And there it was. It's a little bit of a misnomer. It's not a true split finger fastball, and I mentioned this as a grip he picked up at 8. The ball's really not that deep in the hands, but it's a funky enough grip where he does get that downward action of a splitter. Sometimes side to side, but mostly straight down.
Still no balls and 2 strikes, the count here to Moustakas. Missing low and inside, 1-2 the count. We mentioned the stuff of Salazar. 69 strikeouts, but 23 walks. It's been a big issue for him. Moustakas doing a good job fouling off some pitches. Stays 1-2.
Yeah, we talked to Terry Francona about that, especially in the first inning. It really is more about focus than it is about stuff, quality of stuff. There's been times where runners will get on, he gives up a couple of runs in the first inning, and then you'll see the stuff jump up to a higher level. And Terry wants to see that from Jump Street, the first batter.
To right field, base hit. And moving up 1 base is Escobar. So after a leadoff error that Escobar reached on, now a base hit by Moustakas, and it's first and second, nobody out here. in the first inning.
Danny doesn't throw a lot of curveballs, and this is why. That's a hanger right there. It's probably his 4th best pitch. Nice job by Moustakas throughout this at bat, and gets a mistake.
Moustakas speaking with Alfonso Marquez, the first base umpire. Brings up Lorenzo Cain. Cain on the season, 263, 2 home runs, and 10 RBIs. And the fastball misses up high for ball 1.
375. That's what hitters are against Danny Salazar in the first inning of his 9 starts this year. His stuff is too good in any inning for hitters to be that comfortable.
Good pitch, got Cain swinging. 1 ball and 1 strike. His ERA in the first inning is 11.
It's one of the rare pitchers, actually. The 2nd and 3rd time around the lineup, he actually gets better. It's surviving first time around that's been causing him problems.
2 balls and a strike. I thought it was really interesting speaking with Terry Francona about Salazar, asking him about fastball command. And he said he doesn't think he'll ever be one of those guys who can, dot the corners. He's got such good stuff. He has overpowering stuff. He'll never be a control artist. But you just want him to throw strikes, and right now he's behind in the count, 3-1.
Fastball command essentially comes from being able to repeat your mechanics, and that is an issue with Danny Salazar. A couple of those last 2 pitches falling off towards the first base side.
Big swing for Cain right there, 3-2. It's such contrasting styles as we see Eric Hosmer on deck of the 2 pitchers in today's game, with Salazar, who will get it up there with velocity, maybe not repeat his mechanics, and a guy like Jason Vargas. Just missing outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Nobody out here, top of the first inning for the Royals.
And this is off the plate, and this is going to bring up the best possible matchup for the Royals. Eric Hosmer. We talked about the numbers at the top. 8 of his 12 hits against Danny Salazar have been for extra bases. And Justin, most of the damage he's done on Danny Salazar have been fastballs up and away. Haven't really seen Danny maybe throw one really good changeup. To me, that's the pitch he has to go to here against Hosmer, who just has owned his fastball. Great pitch right there.
You think Salazar and Gomes knew that?
Well, there's enough of a history. It's nobody's secret at this point. But that changeup is so good. He actually prefers throwing it to glove side, even to left-handed hitters. So down and in to left-handed hitters, and that's actually the weak spot for Eric Hosmer, down and in.
20th pitch of the inning coming up. Goes right back to it, and now he's ahead in the count, 0-2. So how much does it open it up now for Salazar, being ahead of the count, 0-2,
I think
going back-to-back changeups?
I think you go farther in. I'm not even going to show him fastball away.
The crowd here at Progressive Field trying to get behind Salazar. Facing the cleanup hitter, Eric Hosmer here, top of the first inning. 0-2. They go in the dirt. Gomes with a block. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Listen, the changeup is the best pitch for Danny Salazar. I mean, he's in trouble, ahead on the count. There's no reason to overthink this. Stick with your best pitch.
Another foul ball.
4 in a row.
Yep. Do you change it up, just go fastball high, change the eye level, do something?
You know, it's interesting. There was a situation earlier this month when Danny pitched against Hosmer, with a base open. There's a conference on the mound to pitch around Eric Hosmer and show him a fastball up. Well, Salazar missed. He didn't get it high enough. And Hosmer hit it a long way. He doesn't have the kind of command to pitch around a hitter like that. He's going up. I see him miss that target again. That pitch was designed to be above the zone. And Eric will chase the pitch up. Watch where Gomes wants the ball and watch where it winds up. Now he's lucky because again, that is the weak area for Hosmer. That was a good miss by Danny Salazar. Wanted it up out of the zone, missed down and in.
But the problem there, he didn't change the eye level.
I still think you go back to that changeup. That's your best pitch, down and in.
Did he chase the appeal? He did, says third base umpire David Rackley, and a big strikeout for Salazar. Hosmer doesn't agree with it. And now Hosmer gets tossed. Here comes Ned Yost out right now. That was a quick ejection.
Well, my amateur lip reading, I saw the magic word from Eric Hosmer, and that's you. You can criticize a call.
And now Ned Yost gets tossed.
The minute you personalize a complaint to an umpire and use that pronoun, that's when you're going to get rung.
So Eric Hosmer, who's had these great numbers against Salazar, strikes out on a questionable check swing, gets rung up by David Rackley, and now gets thrown out by home plate umpire Bill Welke, and there goes Ned Yost.
Let's check it out. It looked to me like that barrel did not cross the foul line. That's essentially what a third base umpire does. Yeah, see, they saw that pronoun in there.
It was the pronoun?
You know, the umpire, you see him right there, standing on the third base line. So visually, this is not in the rule book, but this is a guideline for umpires. If you see the barrel cross the foul line, generally you're going to get a strike called.
And now the first pitch to Salvador Perez in there for a strike. Perez asked for time. So with Ned Yost being ejected, Eric Hosmer being ejected, Don Wakamatsu will take over as the manager for this game. Check swing did not go this time, says Alfonso Marquez at first base.
Watch the barrel of the bat.
I think he held up.
I thought he did too. We have the advantage of a slow motion replay in real time. Very difficult call.
In the air, right field. Robertson coming in, late break, tagging from third base is Escobar. The throw home, not in time. Sacrifice fly for Salvador Perez, and it's 1-0 Royals.
A bit of a breeze, which knocked that ball down, so that Robertson is coming in on. Watch where he catches it. Below the hip, had to take an extra step to get himself set. He's got a very strong arm, a little bit offline. Difference between safe or out was catching that ball below the hip rather than above the shoulders.
1-0 Royals lead, and now it's Jorge Bonifacio. First and second, 2 outs here. In the top of the first, an interesting top of the first inning. Bonifacio, 272, 6 home runs, and 15 RBIs. But he has been on fire on this road trip. The first 5 games of the road trip, up and in. All he's done is got 4 homers, 5 runs scored, 9 RBIs.
I really like his approach at the plate, Justin. Very quiet. You watch the front foot barely comes off the ground. Very difficult for Salazar to get Bonifacio out in front on the changeup. He does right there. Well located. Again, he's much better throwing that changeup on glove side, in the left-handers, away from right-handers.
I tell you what, if he can get out of this inning with just one run coming across, he and the Indians will be very, very lucky, not to mention the fact that Hosmer is now out of the game.
Again, that's the biggest bat against him in that Royals lineup, out of the game.
Gets away from Gomes. Both runners will advance.
This is what I mean about Salazar not being able to repeat his mechanics. Watch the way he gets around the baseball here. The arm drops a little bit and he yanks the ball. This hand is not going to get up where it should be and just pulls it glove side.
It's a wild pitch charged to Salazar. Second and third, 2 outs. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Bonifacio. Missing inside, now 3-2. 32 pitches in the inning for Salazar, and that's been one of the problems. He can't go deep into games.
Now, he does not mind throwing that changeup 3-2, especially with the base open. This is not a dead fastball count. There it is.
He gets him swinging, and that will end the inning. So 1 run comes across, 1 player gets ejected, 1 manager gets ejected, and we haven't played the bottom half of the first yet. First baseman for the Royals is Cheslor Cuthbert, who takes over for Eric Hosmer, who was ejected after arguing whether or not he went around on a check swing with the bases loaded. So here leading off for the Indians, trailing 1-0, is Jason Kipnis against Jason Vargas. Lefty versus lefty, and the first pitch is a fastball for a strike at 86 miles per hour. Vargas got off to a great start this year. In his first 7 games, 5-1 with a 1.01 ERA. His last 2 games not as good, both against the Yankees. 0-2 with an 8.10 ERA. Overall, though, 5-3 at 2.3 ERA. And the swing and a miss, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kipnis. Kipnis on the season, 218, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. The 1-2. Got him on the breaking ball. And one strikeout, one away here in the first. The lineup for the Indians, we just saw Jason Kipnis. Here comes Francisco Lindor. Michael Brantley will bat third. Carlos Santana cleans things up. The DH is Edwin Encarnacion. Jose Ramirez bats sixth. Yan Gomes, Austin Jackson, and Daniel Robertson, the bottom third of the order. The numbers on Vargas for the year: 54 2/3 innings, 13 walks, 49 strikeouts, entering this game now with 50 after that last strikeout. He faced these Indians back on May 6th, got a no decision, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, and he starts Lindor off with a strike. Francisco Lindor, the switch hitting shortstop, 279, 10 home runs, 23 RBIs. 1 ball and 1 strike. 11-game hitting streak for Lindor. Two balls and 1 strike.
He's such an impressive hitter for me. Lindor is, because he essentially has no weaker side to the plate. Same swing, same setup. Very unusual to find someone so strong both sides.
Gets into one to left field. We talked about home runs in the open. There's number 11. Francisco Lindor adds to his major league lead for shortstops, now with 11 home runs on the season. And you just said it. Righty, lefty, doesn't seem to have a weak spot.
You know, he been pitching him up with fastballs in this at bat. That was not a fastball, it's a changeup up. And he took advantage of it. Clear mistake made by Vargas. Can't make a mistake to that guy. Too good.
It's now a 12-game hitting streak for Lindor. Tie ball game 1-1, and Michael Brantley at the plate. And Brantley takes the first pitch for a strike.
There's just no sync to that. Started up, stayed up.
Brantley off the end of the bat to right field. That'll drop in front of Jorge Bonifacio for a single. Michael Brantley, who essentially missed all of last year, hasn't missed a beat since coming back.
That's that knuckle curve, spiked curveball. And Brantley, to me, you said it, he hasn't missed a beat coming back after that shoulder injury. So many problems with it, but I always thought of his swing as a slump-proof swing. It is so smooth and level. Made to hit doubles. A few home runs, yeah, sure, but in terms of being consistent, that is a consistent stroke, Michael Brantley.
Well, he now has an 11-game hitting streak, and Carlos Santana steps to the plate. Santana takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. A switch hitting first baseman, hitting .225 with 5 home runs and 27 RBIs. One ball and 1 strike to Santana.
You know, one thing about Hosmer getting thrown out of the game, Cuthbert at first base, is watching him during the infield practice there. He is not comfortable. Very shaky footwork. He's only played 1 major league game at first base. And now the Royals down to 2 men on the bench. One is the backup catcher.
And their first strike, 1-2. And it's not just a guy who's uncomfortable at first base. You're taking away a Gold Glove first baseman in Hosmer. I mean, one of the best first basemen to watch in all of baseball defensively.
There's a myth out there that anybody can play first base.
1-2, ground ball short. Escobar to second for 1. Over to first, not in time. Santana able to beat it out. A fielder's choice, 6-4, 2 away. Well, the defense now behind Jason Vargas. There is Cuthbert at first base, Whit Merrifield at second, Escobar at short, Mike Moustakas at third. In the outfield, it's Alex Gordon in left, Lorenzo Cain in center, Jorge Bonifacio in right, and Salvador Perez, the Rock, is behind the plate.
That's a good nickname for him. Did you just come up with that?
I did.
I like it.
He's there all the time. Encarnacion takes the first pitch for a strike. The keys to the game for Vargas.
Duran stuff. I know you know what that means. Everything in the 80s, right? He's big in the 80s. He has not thrown a pitch at 90 since April of 15. Reverse split. He's actually much more effective against right-handed hitters than lefties. Lefties are hitting 333. Righties 189. Why is that? Time for a change. Any time is a good time for a change for Jason Vargas. Excellent changeup. That's his go-to pitch. Might see it right here. 0-2. No, he's going fastball up. But that's his bread and butter. Fastball's up, changeup's down.
Valve back this way. Still 0-2 to Encarnacion, the big free agent acquisition for the Indians. Not off the start he was hoping for. 218, 9 home runs, 20 RBIs. Not a whole lot of smiles out of Edwin thus far this year. Trying to bust out of it. Encarnacion to left center. This time he didn't get all of it. Kane coming in with that wind blowing in. He makes the catch. But the Indians tied up on a Lindor home run. All tied up 3-1. So we had an eventful first inning. What's in store for the second? Brandon Moss takes the first pitch fastball down low from Danny Salazar. Moss, the DH, 198, 9 home runs, 14 RBIs. One of those 9 home runs came last night. And a big swing and a miss there, 1-1. A different philosophy this year for the Royals than years past. Moss to left. Brantley is right there, 1 away. And that different philosophy is the fact that they used to be a team with contact, speed on the bases, take the extra base. Now they transition more to a power-oriented team.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I mean, it's not all about Gerard Dyson, the speedster now in Seattle, but partly about him. You know, not having him on the bench or getting run as fourth outfielder, especially his personality in the clubhouse. Got a different direction, more of a team with more strikeouts and swings and misses in the lineup than what we're used to. But they are getting a lot more home runs. That guy there, Sal Perez, the Rock as you call him, is a big part of it. Not a new addition, except if you count his stroke. He's hitting the ball in the air a lot more often than in the past.
One ball, one strike, the count here to Whit Merrifield. Low and outside, 2-1 the count.
The additions of Moss and Jorge Soler. A little more emphasis on power over speed.
Merrifield fouls it off, 2-2. It's just, I used to love watching those Royals teams. The teams that went to back-to-back World Series, the team that won the World Series. They were just grinders, and they put so much pressure on the defense. Every time the ball was put in play, if a runner was on base, you're thinking they might steal a base. 2-2 misses up and in, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, well, a great rally team because of their ability to make contact and to run the bases. That ball Brandon Moss hit was only the 5th ball he's hit to the opposite field all year. Has no opposite field hits.
3-2 taken for a ball. So a 1-out walk issued to Whit Merrifield. Second walk of the game issued by Salazar. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Covering the bases with tires for superior performance all season long. Goodyear, more driven. And it's a good thing it's today because we can see the ballpark. There was fog here Thursday, Friday, rain cleared away last night, and the sun is shining here today.
Oh, this is a Chamber of Commerce day. Beautiful day.
The Chamber of Commerce thanks you for that plug. Alex Gordon. Talk about confounding stories in baseball. Alex Gordon, 175, no home runs, 7 RBIs. This was a guy after they won the World Series, everybody was clamoring for them to re-sign him. Gordon ground ball to first. Santana goes to second for 1. They get the lead runner. It's a fielder's choice 3-6. 2 away in the inning. And ever since they've signed him, he's been lost.
Yeah, I mean, what you just saw is what is happening a lot this year. Ground balls to the pull side. Always been a pull hitter, but usually with damage, line drives, home runs, balls in the air, a lot of ground balls. And hitting into the shift when you're a ground ball hitter, you're going to be hitting under 200.
2 outs now for Escobar. Reached on the error leading off the game against Jason Kipnis. Came around to score on the sacrifice fly by Salvador Perez. Fastball at 95 is up high for ball 1.
It's kind of typical Danny Salazar, right? You see the velocity jump up this inning, a couple of ticks. We were seeing 93s, 94s. Now we're seeing 95s, 96s.
Breaking ball in there, first strike. 1-1. Big swing and a miss. 1-2 the count.
You have to make Danny Salazar get the ball in the strike zone. You don't want to be behind where he is now because that's split change territory for him. Problem is the Royals chase more pitches out of the zone than any team in baseball.
The 1-2. Called strike 3. Escobar thought it was up high. We head to the bottom half of the second. 1-1 ball game here in Cleveland. Lead things off against Jason Vargas. And Ramirez takes the first pitch inside for ball one. Ramirez on the season, 265, 7 home runs, and 25 RBIs. Fouls it back, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Do you know that today is Jose Ramirez bobblehead day?
You know, I did. It slipped my mind, but my head's been bobbling back and forth in honor of that bobblehead day. And Ramirez will pop this one up in a shallow center field. Kane coming in. 1 away. MLB on FS1 is sponsored by AstraZeneca. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help. Memorial Day weekend here in Cleveland. Have to go out in the lake if it's warm enough, right?
I was going to say, you know you've made it when you get your own bobblehead. You really made it when you get your own statue, as Frank Robinson did here earlier today. So I guess you really, really have made it if you have a bobblehead statue.
On your own boat.
That's living.
Up high, 1 ball and 1 strike to Yan Gomes.
They got the hair right on that bobblehead. It's the right color.
Low and inside, 2 balls and 1 strike here to Gomes. On the season, 243, 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. Ground ball, shortstop, up the middle. Nice play by Escobar. Throws, makes the play. The scoop by Cuthbert at first. That was pretty.
What a spectacular play. Just see how quickly Escobar gets rid of this ball. A compromised position from the knees, gets the body turned around with plenty on the throw to first base. Wow, that is impressive. Went a long way, showed off the range right there and the arm right there.
That right there, the way he spun so quickly to get to his knees to make the throw, that's what to me was so incredibly impressive. Wow. Austin Jackson at the plate. Took the first pitch for a strike. Up high, 1-1. Austin Jackson this year in 13 games, 265, a home run, 2 RBIs. Just activated off the DL for yesterday's game. He fouls it off. 1-2. You wonder if Austin Jackson will kind of take the role of Rajay Davis for this team this year.
Could be. I actually was interested in the lineup today by Terry Francona, thinking there was a shot that Bradley Zimmer might play center field because we talked about the reverse splits of Jason Vargas. Zimmer is the rookie left-handed hitter. He's only had 5 plate appearances against lefties. Francona has protected him in that regard, but again, I think the changeup is the best pitch from Vargas. He's more fastball curveball to left-handers. The fastball changeup combination is what neutralizes the right-handed hitters.
Low and outside.
Yeah, that's the classic Vargas changeup right there. It's exactly where he wanted to put it, and Austin Jackson didn't bite.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Jackson. Vargas trying to work a 1-2-3 second. He just misses. 3-2. It's fun watching a pitcher like Jason Vargas. Doesn't have that overpowering stuff, but adds, subtracts, pitches off that changeup. 3-2, ground ball to third. Moustakas. And there is that 1-2-3 inning for Vargas. We have played 2 here in Cleveland. We're all tied up at 1. who his title with Mike Moustakas swinging at the first pitch in the third inning, fouling it away. Pedro Grifol, his title is the catching coach for the Royals. He is the acting manager right now after Ned Yost got ejected in the first, after Eric Hosmer was ejected for arguing a check swing third strike. The 0-1 Moustakas rips it foul. No balls and 2 strikes. You would have thought that Don Wakamatsu, the bench coach, would be the manager. But Wakamatsu is actually at his daughter's graduation, so he's not even here right now.
And Dale Swaim, the hitting coach next to Pedro, is a former big league manager.
Yes.
Pedro's got the card.
The 0-2 to Moustakas.
You're getting a look at the new Mike Moustakas. I told you, he loves to swing the bat. 6th in the major league swing percentage. And anything that's near the plate in the same zip code, he's hacking at.
Singled back in the first. Was stranded at third to end the inning. The 0-2 from Salazar. Lined into left field, and Moustakas is now 2 for 2. Personally, I love seeing that. When the shift is on and you beat the shift going the other way.
Yeah, this is not really by design. Watch, he gets beat here with the fastball, but as you mentioned, the shift is on. There's a lot of room over there.
Leadoff single brings up Lorenzo Cain. What's amazing is when you go through this Royals lineup, it seems like there's every player's in their contract year.
Tick, 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 tick. That's the sound that this team's been playing under. Because of what you said, contractual issues, players playing out their walk year. Will they be here all year long? That question's been out there since spring training.
Inside, 2 balls and no strikes to a guy who's playing out his walk year in Lorenzo Cain.
Now, it's really much too early to really think about actual deals at this point. Most general managers
it's never too early.
Yeah, you're one of these people. You probably hang your holiday lights around Thanksgiving.
Fair ball, nice play down the third baseline. And the throw gets away from Santana, but Jose Ramirez got the lead runner at second base. Moustakas, a fielder's choice.
A nice throw on the run right here by Ramirez. Right on target to Kipnis. Really no chance of getting the second out.
Here's Cheslor Cuthbert with his first at bat.
My thought on Kansas City, Justin, is there's so much invested in this team and their fan base that they need to play this thing out all the way into July, to the All-Star break and a little bit beyond, before they start thinking about dismantling the team and cashing in some of these free agents to be.
Broken bat flare to center field, drops in for a base hit. Stopping at second base is Cain. So a base hit for Cheslor Cuthbert, and it's first and second. 1 out here in the third. Well, it all starts here. The 2017 Major League Baseball Draft. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern Monday, June 12th on MLB Network and MLB.com. First and second, 1 out now for Salvador Perez, or The Rock.
Well, we talked about him changing his swing. See this all around baseball. Guys understand now that all damage is in the air, not on the ground. And this guy, infamous for hitting into double plays, now hitting more fly balls.
Let me ask this question. Craig Counsell said he thinks it's all kind of cyclical. The launch angle.
Look how much it's changed. I mean, these are mechanical swing changes that he makes. He was more of a linear hitter, drift into the ball, now more of a rotational hitter who hits off a very strong backside. Now, he does swing and miss more, selling out more for the launch, but doing more damage.
No balls and 2 strikes. Craig Counsell, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, was saying that he thinks baseball is cyclical with the launch angle and everyone changing their swings because of the shifts. And the ball, people always said pitch low in the zone, pitch low in the zone. So you change your swing to hit that pitch low in the zone. Well, now he thinks the pitch that's going to come back into play is that high pitch, the high fastball.
Well, he's absolutely right. I think that's already in play. Teams like the Dodgers, the Rays, the Astros really believe in the high fastball curveball combination.
Line drive caught at third. Ramirez back to second. They're able to double off Kane. A couple of nice plays in the inning by Jose Ramirez. The defense stepping up here in the third for the Indians. Bottom half of the third here in Cleveland. 1-1 ball game. Indians and Royals. Justin Kutcher alongside Tom Verducci here on FS1. Daniel Robertson, Jason Kipnis, Francisco Lindor to face Jason Vargas. And Robertson tries to bunt for a base hit, bunts it foul. The most famous number 99 for the Indians since the Wild Thing.
Just doesn't look right on a position player, though, at number 99.
Unless you have your hair cut like a veg head.
It does make him look bigger, though. I mean, if that was the objective, it worked.
I guess you figured like 98 was for Aaron Judge, so let's go bigger and go 99. I think it looks cool. The 1-1 again tries to bunt. Going to be a bare hand play for Moustakas. Can't make it, and a bunt base hit for Daniel Robertson.
That is a great play because he showed bunt first pitch with Moustakas playing back, and Moustakas did not move in thereafter, figuring he's not going to try again. Well, guess what? If it was a good play with no strikes, it's a good play with one strike. You give me the bunt hit to lead off an inning? Thank you very much. I'll take it.
Leadoff man on base. And that'll bring up Jason Kipnis, who struck out to lead off the game for the Indians. And the first pitch breaking ball's in there for a strike. We mentioned players and trades, and you say it's too early right now for the Royals. How about a guy like Vargas? What kind of return can they get for a pitcher like him?
He's another one of those guys. Last year, the contract, having a really good season. You know, if you can't afford to fish in the waters with the big names like the, say, Garrett Coles, Johnny Cueto's perhaps, Sonny Gray, this guy can fill your rotation. Talking about very solid 3 in your rotation.
Kipnis can hold up. It's not a foul ball. It gets away from Perez. And going down to second base goes Robertson. It's going to be a wild pitch charge to Vargas.
Yeah, Sal thought he should have stopped this one. Expect the breaking ball to bounce. Just caught him on the side of the chest protectors. The ball went to the side of him rather than straight down.
No balls, 2 strikes to Kipnis. Now a runner in scoring position. Nobody out here in the third. With Robertson dancing around back there at second. Timeout called at home plate.
See, Kipnis gets right on top of the plate. We talked about Vargas, more of a fastball curveball guy against left-handers. Not many changeups to lefties. Curveball he likes to work down and away.
Spoils it foul, stays 0-2.
Yeah, Jason was glad that he only spoiled it. That was a mistake, got away with. 0-2 middle fastball. Glad to still be in the count right here.
Not in the count anymore. Back up the middle, base hit. This will score a run, and the Indians take the 2-1 lead. RBI single for Kipnis.
You know, there's an old saying in baseball, a hitter only gets 1 pitch to hit each at bat. I've never believed in that. Pitchers make mistakes. Sometimes 2 in the same at bat, and this is the case. Again, 0-2. The pitch, Perez wanted it up, middle, missed his spot. And that is a place Jason Vargas cannot live. Not many pitchers can, but especially when you don't have velocity, to try to get by in the middle of the plate, you are going to get beat.
And now Francisco Lindor steps in. Lindor homered back in the first, and he first pitch hacks and fouls it back. This was Lindor in the first inning. Home run number 11 on the year for Francisco Lindor. In the dirt, nice stop by Salvador Perez.
Think about all the great young shortstops in this game. Carlos Correa's, the Addison Russells, and this guy's got more home runs than all of them. 11.
If you could take just one, who is it?
I'd probably go Corey Seager. But I'd be happy if you gave me the second pick, the third, or the fourth.
And their first strike, 1-2. And why Seager?
You know, I believe he's a guy who's going to stay at shortstop. I know a lot of people look at his size and think he's going to transition to third, but just a durable body who moves very well.
And Lindor, he strikes out. You don't see that very often, helping out. I thought for a second maybe he was saying I fouled it off.
He made a mess. He was helping to clean up. Curveball. Got him out front.
That was the second strikeout of the game for Vargas. One away here in the third. Michael Brantley singled his first time up. A look over at Kipnis at first base, who's 2 for 3 in stolen bases on the year. Brantley with that smooth swing. And the David Price look-alike.
It's a good call. You know, one thing I like to do with defense is when a batter is at the plate is check how they're positioned. A high average hitter, you will see a defense positioned the way they are for Brantley. You have to honor the entire field. You see someone hitting the 240s, 230s, you're going to see a shift. You're going to see either outfield or infield or both shifted over.
Brantley got handcuffed on that one. Skies it to left. Alex Gordon is there. 2 away. Tonight on Fox, Major League Baseball continues with the Cubs and Dodgers. Also, the Mets battle the Pirates and the Orioles take on the Astros. Check your local listings for the game in your area. It all begins tonight at 7 Eastern on Fox. Two away now for Carlos Santana. Reached on the fielder's choice his first time up. How about the shift on Santana right here? Santana to left center field. Back is Gordon at the wall, makes the catch right in front of the 370 sign. The wind kept that one in the ballpark. It's a 2-1 Cleveland lead. Field 2-1, top of the 4th inning. Indians now lead the Kansas City Royals. Bonifacio, first pitch. There's Lindor. So smooth at shortstop. 1 away. And Salazar could use a few of those. 1 pitch outs.
Stepping to the plate now for the Royals is the designated hitter, Brandon Moss.
Brandon Moss will step in. And you mentioned it before, that fly out to left field, just the 5th time all year he's flown out to left field, so the shift is on for Moss.
It's one of the biggest changes in the game. I know the shift, we've seen the shift beaten in this game, but especially for left-handed hitters who don't have speed, it has really depressed batting average. And it's not just because of that rover position in short right field, but you see the middle of the field is covered. Ground balls up the middle that used to be automatic base hits become ground ball outs.
Three balls and no strikes here to Moss.
I'm letting him hack right here with his power. Taken all the way.
The only thing that I would have a problem with as a hitter with a guy who doesn't have great command like Salazar, you want to make sure it's a good pitch, and he throws so hard. I'd have a hard time swinging away just because you're almost guessing it's a walk here. To Moss, time for our first game break. Let's go back to LA and check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
Second baseman Whit Merrifield.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. So the Yankees, with that win, moved to 28-18, 10 games above 500. You know, we talked at the very beginning of this broadcast as Whit Merrifield took the first pitch for a ball and he walked his first time up. We didn't think many people would have the Minnesota Twins leading the American League Central at this point of the season. I don't think many people had the New York Yankees at 10 games above 500 on May 27th.
No, it's been, I think, a fascinating year so far because of New York, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Colorado, Arizona. A lot of surprise teams.
It's been a weird year thus far in baseball. There are some teams that seemingly, I mean, the Astros have been dominant, 33-16. Some divisions you have one team above 500. Merrifield down the right field line, out of play, 1-2. Teams that you thought would be good haven't. The San Francisco Giants come to mind.
Toronto scuffled out of the gate. The Mets, with all their injuries, are down. Long way to go. Last year at this time, Philadelphia and the Chicago White Sox were two surprise teams. Not in the picture at the end.
The 1-2 from Salazar. Do it again for Whit Merrifield. Whit Merrifield's one of those guys, can play second base, can play pretty much anywhere in the infield, play some outfield. He reminds me a lot, we talked about this, you and I, before the game, of Randy Velarde. People at home are going, who?
Definitely that kind of a versatile player.
Randy Velarde played for the Yankees, for the Rangers. Short, compact swing, just a good baseball player. A good guy to have on your team.
Yeah, that's Merrifield, and he's gotten a lot stronger the last couple of years. Really worked hard at adding muscle and weight, starting with his off-season regimen. This sounds like your diet, Justin. He ate every 2 hours.
That's about right.
Breakfast, he had 9 eggs and
Only
oatmeal.
9?
Nine.
Oh, well.
Exactly 9, plus oatmeal. And then would eat every 2 hours.
Off the end of the bat, the swinging bunt. Salazar, he's going to eat this one. And that'll be an infield single for Whit Merrifield. That must be the 9 eggs.
So much for that added strength, huh? Sometimes you miss-hit a baseball and things work out great. Now, Salazar had designs on throwing this ball, but his right foot slipped just as he grabbed it. And that's when he rightfully decided, nah, I better just hang on to it. Off the end of the bat. Watch him, his plant foot. Whoop.
Now first and second, 1 out for Alex Gordon. A 12-game hitting streak for Merrifield. University of South Carolina product. Low and inside with the fastball. 1-0. 71 pitches already here for Danny Salazar. And we're just in the top of the 4th inning. He's through 3 1/3 at 71 pitches.
That's kind of typical for Danny. Great stuff, but he has yet to see the 7th inning this year. And efficiency, or lack of it, is why.
An all-star last year, 2 balls and no strikes.
And we've seen that several times where he just pulls those fastballs. He gets underneath the baseball. Just is not able to repeat the release point, find the same mechanics pitch to pitch.
There's a strike, 2-1.
That's a nice frame job by Gomes. Watch the glove close the ball into the zone. Get those fingers around the baseball so you bring the ball into the zone, close the mitt toward the inside of the zone.
Ground ball third. Ramirez to second for one. To first, they got it. 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. When we come back for the bottom half of the fourth, we'll be joined by the Hall of Famer Frank Robinson here in the booth. Bottom half of the fourth inning, the newest statue here in Cleveland. It is Frank Robinson, the first African-American manager in Major League Baseball history, as Edwin Encarnacion steps in, takes the first pitch for a ball. His number is retired here at Progressive Field, number 20, a player manager back in 1975 for these Indians. And he joins us up here in the booth, and it is an absolute honor to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Just want to know, what was it like having that statue unveiled? Really, what do you think of the statue? Was it a good representation of you?
I think so. I really do. Only it was just a little too tall. I hate looking up to a statue. But no, it's a great job. The sculpture did a great job on it, and I thank him for it. Very proud of it.
Encarnacion up the middle for a base hit, a leadoff single here in the fourth inning. This was the ceremony prior to the game for Frank Robinson when they unveiled the statue. Hank Aaron was here. The entire Indians team was out there for this. What did it mean to you to have Hank Aaron here for this moment?
Well, I can't describe that really, but we've become good friends since we were retired, and we usually go to different events that we're involved in. The other one is involved in, and we invite the other one. They usually show up. And Hank is not in the greatest shape right now, physically, and he came up from Atlanta to be here, and I'm really thankful, proud of it, and thank him for coming.
Yeah, it's pretty special indeed to have both you and Hank Aaron here at the ballpark on the same day. As a kid growing up, watching baseball, loving baseball, it's so cool to see that and have that, and I think having the entire Indians team out there, what about that, knowing that all the players were there to see that?
Well, I was surprised when I saw them all there. I thought maybe just a few of them would show up, but I was really surprised, and it was quite an honor for me to see them there, and I wanted to talk to them more, but I took too long, they tell me, talking. And they had to get in, get dressed, and get out on the field and take batting practice and stuff.
Hey, you've earned it. You can take as long as you want.
Yeah, my wife is going like this the other day. I said, hey, I just got started.
Well, it's a personal thrill, Frank, to have you in the booth with us. Not only one of the greatest players of all time, but one of the greatest ambassadors for the game of baseball. Everything that you have given to this game and continue to give to the game. And I think anybody associated with the game really respects you for that and thanks you for that as well.
Well, I grew up with that mentality because a gentleman in Oakland, California instilled that in me. He says, I'm going to help you, someone else is going to help you. So when you get in a position to be able to help others, you do it too, and also to promote the game of baseball, because it's a great game.
It is a great game. The count's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jose Ramirez, and he shoots one the other way. Back-to-back singles leading off the 4th here for the Indians against Jason Vargas. And that'll bring up Yan Gomes. Again, we are speaking with the Hall of Famer Frank Robinson. And this is Jose Ramirez, who got off to such a great start here for the Indians this year. Has cooled off as of late, but going the other way with it. Frank, people, some realize, some don't, that you were both a player-manager, at a player-manager same time. What was that like to be both?
You really want to know?
Yes.
Hell. When I put myself in the lineup, I saw all these eyes in the back of my head. I should be in there, not him. It's a tough position. And, you know, Pete Rose, I think, was the last one before me. And, you know, I think if you're young enough, it's okay. But I was a pretty good, age-wise, I was up there pretty good. And it was tough because who do you get in shape? Yourself as a manager, or do you get yourself as a player?
Right.
And I didn't take any of spring training at all, but I could still hit the fastball.
Okay, so you take no spring training to get yourself in shape, and then the first game, as a player manager, all you do is hit a home run.
Well, it's the story behind that. You got time?
We got all the time you want.
I'll talk fast, too.
No, we're going to show it for you as well.
This is opening day, 1975.
Yep.
I love the uniforms, by the way,
yeah,
the all reds.
That's Ted Bundy's wife. She liked them. I said, well, why don't she wear them?
Gomes pops one up in the infield. Infield fly rule called. So what's the story behind that one?
Well, I went up to visit Phil Sagan, the general manager, that morning, just to touch base with him. And we talked about 10 or 15 minutes, and I got up to go downstairs, just time to get in there and get the lineup going and put the uniform on. And as I was leaving, he says, "You're in the lineup today?" I said, "What?" I said, "No." He said, "Why?" He says, "Well, you know, you've always risen to the occasion, and I think you ought to put yourself in the lineup." So I went downstairs, and I must have sat and thought about it. Where do I hide Frank Robinson? And it's about half an hour. So I finally decided second. I said, because the man is second, nobody out, I can move him over. So the man on third base, I can get him in and help the club. So I put myself second. And that's just part of the story. So I go up in the first inning. Doc Medich is on the mound. First pitch, curveball in the dirt, strike one on par. Next pitch, I fouled it off slider. The next pitch, another slider, I fouled it off and I stepped out. I said, wait, this guy didn't read the papers today. This is my day. And he's trying to embarrass me and strike me out on 3 pitches. He's not even going to waste one. So I think really what that did was snap me out of this fog I was in. And the next slider was away, and I pulled it. I didn't know if it was going to be high enough. Left center field and made it over.
It's incredible. I guess he was right. You rose to the occasion.
Yeah, I guess he was, you know. But I wasn't even thinking about putting myself in the lineup because I didn't want to feel all those eyes on the back of my head as I'd be in the batter's box.
There are 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Daniel Robertson at the plate. He takes the pitch up high. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-1 ball game. Indians lead the Royals on a day when they unveiled the statue for Frank Robinson as the first African-American manager in Major League Baseball history. Of course, first ballot Hall of Famer, MVP in both leagues. With the Reds, with the Orioles, the 1966 Triple Crown winner.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky. I mean, some of the numbers are just unbelievable. Outside now, 3 balls and no strikes.
Frank, being a rookie manager in the big leagues, pressure enough. But for you, what kind of responsibility did you feel as the first African-American manager in the major leagues?
Well, I felt like I had to have the team support. So what I did, I tried to keep everybody on their toes. I tried to let them know why I was doing certain things, and not during the game, but after the game, I'd tell them why I did certain things if they questioned it. And that was the toughest thing it was, because when I was in the lineup, other players thought they should be in the lineup.
Can you imagine someone being a player or manager in today's game?
No, I cannot. It's too much. It's too big a responsibility. And number one, it's too much money involved in the game today, because you're taking at bats, you're taking innings, and away from a player that feels like he should be out there so he can make his salary, get his numbers up so he can get a good salary next year. It'll be very difficult today.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to get lucky, and if it was that you're a player manager, if your team got off to a great start.
A walk to Daniel Robertson has loaded the bases. Dave Island went out to speak with Jason Vargas, and Jason Kipnis at the plate had an RBI single his last time up. The Indians trying to add to their lead right here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Again, we are joined in the booth here by the Hall of Famer Frank Robinson on a day where he was honored by the Indians. As Kipnis takes the first pitch inside for ball 1. Just your thoughts. You've been around the game for so long. What you think of the game today?
Well, you say I've been around the game long, that means I'm old. I think it's nothing wrong with the game. And, you know, what I don't like, what I'm seeing now, is too much tinkering electronically with the play on the field, the game on the field. It's taking things away from the players that they should have to think about doing it or anticipate about doing something. And it's already thought out for them. And also, we're trying to escalate the game, speed it up. You can't speed this game up. What you can do is, which I tried for about 5 or 6 years, is to take the dead time out of the game.
Right.
And I almost lost my mind trying to do it. But I got it done somewhat, and that's all we need to do. We need to be a little bit snappier with getting off the field, getting out on the field, getting the pitcher warmed up, and getting the hit in the batter's box.
3-1, Kipnis to right field. If it's fair, it's not. Foul ball.
Well, Jason Kipnis thinks that was fair.
Nothing wrong with that.
He was motioning to the dugout. Check that out on replay even before he got to the bag.
I almost missed it.
Wow. Let's take a look at this. It is a foul ball. What a look. What a job by our camera crew.
Well, I'd go find that baseball, see if there's any yellow paint on it.
Here comes Terry Francona out right now. Yep, they want to go to review it. Well, the player manager up here, he says he's thinking don't review it.
Well, here's a situation in the game that is very tense. Bases loaded. 1 out, 2 outs.
And you know what?
We stopped.
Did that hit the foul pole?
I'm not sure that it's definitive.
It didn't change directions. I didn't see it change directions. If it hit the foul pole, it would have changed direction.
Right. Yep.
But see, here's the game now.
Nope.
At a standstill.
That was quick. You do realize what happened. New York was watching the game. They heard Frank Robinson say right there it didn't change directions, and they just said foul ball. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. No, I don't carry that kind of weight. But as simple as that, when it was a close-up, the ball would have hit the foul pole. It would have changed directions. It would kind of veer to the right.
So, Frank, what are you thinking now as a hitter? 3-2, you just missed a grand slam. Bases loaded. What's your
Anything
approach?
close. My approach, don't attack the pitch. Let it come to you and be ready to swing the bat.
There go the runners. Breaking ball popped up in the infield. Cuthbert in fair territory will make the play. Well, Frank, thank you so much for joining us here in the booth. Congratulations on the statue. Congratulations on everything. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Frank.
Pleasure being here.
At the end of 4, 2-1 Indians. Indians lead the Royals. It'll be the top of the order. Escobar, Moustakas, and Kane to face Danny Salazar. Tom, I don't know about you, but that was so much fun having Frank Robinson up here in the booth with us.
That was so cool. I mean, I couldn't help but ask him, what would Frank Robinson think? What's your approach? One of the greatest hitters of all time. Yeah, just a joy to have him up here.
You said something to me that was amazing. He had 586 career home runs. How long was he in the top 10 for?
Well, he retired in 1973, 4th on the all-time list. And he stayed that way until 2001 for 28 years. And since then, 6 different players have zoomed past him in the fast lane on the home run list.
Ground ball, shortstop. Lindor waits for it. 1 away. MLB on FS1 is sponsored by Ford. We're going further so you can. And by the Hartford. When the unexpected strikes, the Hartford strikes back with small business insurance.
I think I said he retired in 73. He actually retired in 76. 73 is when he passed Harmon Killebrew into 4th place. So he held 4th place for 28 years.
Mike Moustakas, first pitch swinging, fouls it back. Moustakas is 2 for 2 with a couple of singles on the day. That's what is amazing about baseball is for the longest time, I mean, for me growing up as a kid, you knew all the 500 home run members and
there were 3 people who had 600 or more home runs in the history of the game. 3. I mean, you knew it. It was Willie Mays, it was Babe Ruth, it was Hank Aaron, and now, I mean, even me, it slips my mind who's part of the 600 home run club.
It's a different game. Well, expansion as well, more players.
Moustakas goes down swinging on 97 from Salazar. That's strikeout number 4. Time for our Budweiser game summary as we are here in the 5th. Hosmer and Yost both ejected in the first inning after Hosmer argued on a check swing, strike 3. Lindor the solo homer in the first, and Kipnis the RBI single in the third. He just missed a grand slam in the 4th. First pitch swinging, Lorenzo Cain up the middle for a base hit. This was the first inning ejection for Eric Hosmer. You make the call. Did he go around on that check swing? Third base umpire David Rackley said, yes, you did. Eric Hosmer said, no, I didn't, and not those words.
A huge moment in the game, obviously, and then Ned Yost, the manager, gets thrown. Bases loaded, nobody out in that situation. And the check swing call, a ring up Eric Hosmer.
The replacement for Hosmer is Cheslor Cuthbert. Cuthbert singled his first time up. Foul tip, 1-1. Going back to the home runs, you say expansion. Ballparks have gotten smaller. What do you think?
Yeah, in some cases they have. I think just the premium on, we've talked about this, hitting the ball in the air, getting damage by hitting fly balls. There's no taboo associated with the strikeout. Batting averages have been devalued in favor of on-base percentage and now slugging percentage. Different things driving the game now than what they did back when Frank played.
Broken back, ground ball to second. Kipnis. That'll do it here in the 5th. We're through 4.5 at Progressive Field. It's 2-1 Indians. Goodyear covering the bases with tires for superior performance all season long. Goodyear, more driven. Back here on a beautiful Memorial Day weekend in Cleveland. Francisco Lindor leading off in the 5th against Jason Vargas. First pitch, breaking balls in the dirt for ball one. I tell you what, Vargas got out of a huge jam in that fourth inning. Nearly gave up a grand slam to Jason Kipnis. Instead of pop out to first, and no damage. Pulled, diving stop by Moustakas at third, low throw. Cuthbert digs it out.
Nice play on both ends. Moustakas was playing in front of the bag, as you can see there. Watch the reactions. Again, gets to his feet quickly, and watch the pick by Cuthbert. What are you saying? I've only played one game over here. I could play first base.
Nicely done. One away. Michael Brantley. Cuthbert came in for Eric Hosmer. And Brantley takes the first pitch for a strike. Brantley flew out to left field his last time up, singled back in the first. Missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Boy, infielders love those pitchers who work quickly and throw strikes. Seen some good interior defense by Kansas City behind Vargas today. They'll keep you on your toes.
Just missing. 2 balls and a strike, the count to Brantley. Saw the beautiful play by Alcides Escobar up the middle against Yan Gomes in the second. And now that diving stop by Mike Moustakas. Ground ball up the middle, and that is under the glove of Whit Merrifield for a base hit. Second hit of the day for Michael Brantley. Time for a game break. Let's go back to LA and check in with KB.
For the drive now coming in, number 41, Marlins.
KB, thank you. Mike Trout. You know, I used to think that there was a Mount Rushmore of baseball and it was done. Is there a chance that he might try to etch his way into that conversation?
Absolutely. I think if you just go by age.
Santana to straightaway center field. Lorenzo Cain circles around, makes the catch. 2 away.
You know what he's done at the age of 25 puts him in that category. One of the greatest young players ever, and getting better.
Seth Maness begins to throw in the pen for the Royals. With 2 outs in the 5th. I mean, every year you just kind of marvel at what he's doing as Encarnacion rips one down the left field line. Gordon goes over to cut it off. The throw comes back into second, and that'll hold Encarnacion to a long single. Runners on the corners with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Yeah, it looked to me like he was sitting on that pitch. I'm not sure if Jason got this pitch as far in as he wanted. It was up, but not as far in. Yeah, out over the plate. Well, that's a good sign for Cleveland. The bat's been a little bit quicker lately. The thing I noticed about Edwin is a guy who normally crushes inside pitches has not been doing that this year. It's 1 home run on inside strikes.
2 away, runners on the corners for Jose Ramirez. And Ramirez first pitch pops it up in the infield. Merrifield at second will make the catch, and that'll do it. The Indians strand 2 on the bases. We're through 5. It's a 2-1 ball game. alongside Tom Verducci. Salvador Perez, Jorge Bonifacio, Brandon Moss against Danny Salazar. And the first pitch curveball in there for a strike. Perez had the sac fly back in the first to score Escobar, the only run thus far for the Royals. And also lined out his last time up to third. This time a little broken bat, foul ball. And he's saying, yep, I need to go check that one and get a new bat. So with that, we can tell you to come out to the ballpark June 3rd and 4th as Major League Baseball celebrates Play Ball Weekend, supported by Chevrolet, Scott's, and Nathan's. For more information, visit playball.org. So a car, a grass, and some hot dogs and fries.
What kind of game did you play as a kid? You know, other than the normal 9-on-9 baseball, you must have had some other versions of baseball.
Wiffle ball.
There you go. Wiffle
Love
ball.
wiffle ball.
Stick
Home run
ball.
derby.
Home run derby. Stick ball.
Perez in the air to center field. Austin Jackson going back. He's got room on the warning track, makes the catch. One away here in the 6th. Grip the Moments or Moments, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. It's defense. Escobar with a beautiful play. Jose Ramirez with a couple of nice plays. And the one we just saw, Mike Moustakas laying out, and Cheslor Cuthbert on the other end. Line drive into left field. Brantley trying to cut it off. He can't. This goes all the way to the wall. Bonifacio will be in with a 1-out double. That is the 3rd double of the year for Jorge Bonifacio.
And that was absolutely smoked. First pitch fastball hitting, and Brantley just didn't have time to get over here. Good looking young hitter. There's a lot of people familiar with his older brother, Emilio Bonifacio. Very different player. Much more of a speed contact player.
Very different builds. They like what they see out of this kid, though. Brandon Moss at the plate. Walked his last time up, has also flown out to left field. In the bullpen for the Indians, Nick Goody and Boone Logan warming up. Goody the righty, Logan the lefty. Fastball swung on and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count here to Moss.
See if he buries that split change right here. Important sequence for Salazar. It's pitched with runners on base all day long.
Outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was the pitch. Just didn't get it where he wanted to.
How about this? The 3-run homer by Brandon Moss in last night's game snapped a team-wide 0 for 35 slump with runners in scoring position. Today they're 0 for 4. That's inside. He chokes it. This was Brandon Moss on a changeup.
That's in his happy zone right there, down and in. Franchise record. 0 for 35. Wow. It's got to be a split change right here. He missed with the fastball.
Another walk from Salazar. The 4th walk issued by Salazar on the day. And that will bring a visit from Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, and the entire infield coming in now. It's first and second, 1 out in a 1-run ball game here in the 6th inning.
Moss is one of the more patient of the Kansas City hitters. We talked about the MO of this offense is to swing, hack away. No team chases pitches out of the strike zone more often than Kansas City. I think Merrifield right here has to get Salazar in the strike zone.
Batting now for the Royals, number 15, Whit Merrifield.
This is the one guy, Whit Merrifield, who you'd think could come through in this position. That short, compact stroke, just put the bat on the ball. A single could tie the game up with Bonifacio on at second base. Alex Gordon on deck, who's been struggling all season long. The fastball's outside for ball 1. Again, no real command with that fastball throughout this entire game for Danny Salazar.
I like the approach by Merrifield right there. Didn't miss by much. That's a pitcher's pitch. Now you're in control of the count.
Bounced. That's a foul ball. Foul ball. Home plate umpire Bill Wilkie had the call as it was foul before the bat. But a heads-up play nonetheless by Ramirez to step on the base.
This is really close. You see, Bill Wilkie is not. It is a foul ball. He didn't have time to get out in front of the plate and look directly down the line. So he's angled a little bit, but clearly a foul ball. Bill Wilkie, of course, his older brother was an umpire as well, Tim Wilkie. I gotta tell you a great story about his brother, Tim, involving the Royals. 1983, Royals are playing the Yankees, and Mickey Rivers hits an inside the park home run. And George Brett, playing third for Kansas City, noticed that Rivers did not touch second base. They appealed, and Tim Wilkie, a very young umpire at the time, called him out. That drew the wrath of Billy Martin. The Yankees manager comes storming out of the Yankees dugout to argue. He runs out there. Young Tim Wilkie is just prepared for the worst tongue lashing, and Billy Martin says, while yelling at him, mind you, "You got that call right, and I'm going to fine him $100 for missing the base." Tim Wilkie started laughing, and Billy said, "Don't laugh. We're on camera. The TVs can see us." So they had this fake argument, and Billy was complimenting him on making the right call.
That is awesome. Wow. That's great.
Only Mickey Rivers would miss second base on an inside the park home run. I can't tell you the last time I actually saw an appeal play of missing a base in the big leagues.
But how about the fact that Wilkie saw it and George Brett was paying attention to see it?
That's a great point about the player making sure, if you're not involved in the actual fielding of the ball, make sure the players touch the bag. It's a little thing, but most people just don't do it.
Pitch number 100 misses for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Merrifield. 33 pitches in that first inning. He's settled down since then. At 100 now here in the 6th. But first and second, 1 out. After a double by Bonifacio, a walk to Moss. And now Merrifield, who had a swinging bunt his last time up. The 2-2. Inside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And you wonder if Merrifield gets on, is this going to be it for Salazar?
Yeah, I think it may be it either way. Can he execute a 3-2 pitch deep into the game?
5th 3-2 count of the day. He cannot. Back-to-back walks issued by Salazar to load the bases here in the top of the 6th inning. And here is Francona out of the dugout, and that will be it for Salazar. Top of the 6th, 1 out. Bases are loaded. A lefty coming up in Gordon, and most likely going to see Boone Logan. At Progressive Field, Salazar's day is done. He'll leave with the bases loaded. 1 out in the 6th, a 1-run lead, and he turns it over to Boone Logan. 23 games, 10 in a third innings pitched. 3 walks, 13 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .231 against him, and he comes in to face the lefty, Alex Gordon, trying to preserve this 1-run lead. The Royals got to the bullpen last night of the Indians. Something not many teams can say this year. And Logan gets him on a first pitch slider, 0-1. Bonifacio at third, Moss at second, and Whit Merrifield at first. Gordon grounded into a 5-4-3 inning-ending double play in the 4th. Ground ball up the middle. This time he comes through. That scores 1. Here comes the throw from Jackson. They're going to hold Moss at third. Alex Gordon comes through with an RBI single, tying the game up at 2.
Well, you know, with Logan, you're going to see lots of those sliders. He saw 2 of them. The second one he didn't miss. Hit it in the right spot. Up the middle. Even though this is a 55 hopper up the middle, you really can't score Moss from second base. Jackson plays a very shallow center field. That's an easy stop sign for Mike Chersley at third.
Lefty versus lefty. Alex Gordon got the base hit. Here comes Nick Goody, the righty, for the Indians, now in a tie game. Top of the 6th, 1 out, bases still loaded after the RBI single by Alex Gordon. Alcides Escobar will face Nick Goody. 14 games, 16 2/3 innings, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .130 against him. Escobar reached on an error, has struck out and grounded out. First pitch, line drive over the glove of Lindor into left center field. That will score 2 runs. Coming into second base, sliding in safely is Escobar, and the Royals take the 4-2 lead. Back-to-back games, the Royals have gotten to the Indians' bullpen.
It looked like Lindor lost flight of this ball. This is a hanging slider, and it looks like he's got it lined up, and he just doesn't track it into the glove. The shadows perhaps coming into play there.
Going to be a 2-run double for Escobar. Moustakas intentionally walked. A new rule in baseball that I'm not a big fan of. Not sure about you.
It's hard for me to get worked up about it. It's so small. It's like the old, they got rid of the rule where you can't fake to third and throw to first in the first and third situation. Nick Goody, that slider had been almost unhittable. What he does is he pitches from a very closed stance, keeps the front side closed for a long time, and it's hard to pick up the ball out of the hand.
Lorenzo Cain fouls that slider back, 0-1.
But typically his slider will be down and away to right-handers, but that one there, and especially the one to Escobar, a little flat up in the zone, didn't have the usual tilt and certainly not the right location.
Fastball up and in, 1-1.
These type of pitchers, to me, they're like the pass rushing specialist, the third down pass rusher in football. The game now has so many of these type of pitchers. Just a 2-pitch pitcher doesn't need a third pitch because his job is to come in, throw sliders to right-handed hitters. That's it.
Cain asks for time, he gets it. Couple of clutch hits by Alex Gordon and now Alcides Escobar. 3 runs in the inning for the Royals. Swing and a miss, 1-2. All 3 of those runs are charged to Salazar. Warming up in the bullpen now, Dan Otero for the Indians. One, two in the dirt. Good stop by Gomes.
Right about now, the hitters start having a little bit of trouble picking up spin. See Goody in the sunshine. Shadow's about halfway to the plate.
Two-two fastball got him. It looked like Cain may have been guessing slider and the fastball was by him when he decided to swing.
Yeah, either that or he just didn't see the pitch well, because that is an emergency hack. I mean, as often as he throws that slider, that's not a recommended approach to sit on slider and think you're going to react in time for mid-90s heat.
Out number 2, the 9th batter of the inning coming up here, and Cheslor Cuthbert. Grounded out to second to end the 5th. There's a slider missing, high and outside for ball 1. 1 for 2. Cuthbert also singled his first time up back in the 3rd. Check swing. Out of play, 1-1. The Indians right now have to feel kind of shocked in a way. I believe it's 3 games in a row now where the Indians bullpen has actually been dented. Slider got him there.
Yeah, you had Shaw out there the other day and Cody Allen in a loss to Cincinnati. Andrew Miller got into a game last night. A 4-0 lead became a 6-4 defeat. This is the best bullpen in the league in terms of ERA. Had only 1 loss coming into this week. 2 straight losses coming into this game.
1-2 slider gets him swinging to end the inning and leave the bases loaded, but 3 runs in the inning. A big 2-run double by Escobar. It's now 4-2 Royals. said it doesn't make sense, but when Alcides Escobar is batting leadoff, they just win. Well, guess what? He just came through with a big 2-run double to give his team a 2-run lead as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Jason Vargas is still out there. He'll face the bottom third of the order. Yan Gomes, Austin Jackson, Daniel Robertson. And the first pitch breaking ball drops in for a strike. Gomes pops it foul. Out of play, first base side. 0-2. In the bullpen, Matt Strahm. The lefty begins to throw.
Well, he's there as the lineup turns over. You get the left-handers coming up. Kittner and Brantley with Lindor between them. Just in case Vargas starts running out of gas.
In the dirt, 1-2. 85 pitches for Vargas. His line, 5 innings, 8 hits, couple of runs, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts.
Last time out, he did throw 102 pitches. That was the first time he went to 100 pitches since April of 2015, before his Tommy John surgery. So he's not a guy the Royals push deep over 100.
Inside now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gomes 0 for 2. A ground out to short on a great play by Escobar. He also popped out to short. 3-2 is outside, a leadoff walk to Gomes. Time for a game break. Let's go back to LA and check in with KB. That's quite the turnaround for the Twins this year, as Austin Jackson takes the first pitch for a ball. Here's the look at the standings in the AL Central. Cleveland now 2.5 back of Minnesota.
And meanwhile, Vargas to me is in trouble. The last 3 pitches have not looked good out of the hand.
That's one to fall in there for a strike.
And you saw Dave Island on the phone making sure Strahm is ready to go. And he definitely got some help right there. Pitches have been up, not as crisp.
1-2 the count to Jackson, who's 0 for 2. A ground out and a fly out to right. Yan Gomes, a leadoff walk. Ground ball, shortstop, Escobar. They get 1, they get 2. 6-4-3 double play. For every America can and bottle sold between May 22nd and May 29th, Budweiser is donating 1 cent to the Folds of Honor Foundation, up to a maximum donation of $1 million.
That was a big pitch right there for me, Justin, because I did feel like he was on the ropes a little bit and got Jackson to roll over.
Robertson takes the first pitch, backdoor breaking ball for a strike.
It seems as he gets deeper in the game, going even softer. The breaking ball, really, to me, more than the changeup, has been working for him.
Slow roller. Escobar trying for the bare hand. Daniel Robertson took a turn. Another infield hit for Robertson. He had a bunt single back in the 3rd, and now an infield single here in the 6th.
It's a very tough play because of the speed of the ball, trying to make it barehanded. You know, Derek Jeter was the best I ever saw in those ones, and he always made the play two-handed. Always had the hand, the throwing hand, right by the glove, so it was a quick release.
Well, this is going to be it for Vargas. He'll leave with a runner on first as Pedro Grifol makes the call to the bullpen here in the 6th inning and 2 outs. Strong is the new pitcher. 15 games, 1-2, a 6.14 ERA, 14 2/3, 13 walks, 18 strikeouts.
Yeah, the walks are alarming. Heavy dosage of four-seam fastballs, mid-90s. Also the slider, but his go-to pitch is a fastball that has late life.
Facing Kipnis, comes in with that first pitch fastball at 96. Kipnis had the RBI single back in the 3rd. Popped out his last time up. Salvador Perez says, I don't need these sunglasses anymore.
I'm telling you, the light really changed in the last 20 minutes.
Kipnis fouls it off, 0-2. Last at bat for Kipnis with Frank Robinson in the booth. That close to a grand slam. Nope, foul ball, and then a pop-up. And that led to a broken bat.
It's the bat's fault. The bat's no good.
So it's safe to say he's not swinging the same bat here this time.
Yeah. He's got some firewood tonight if it gets cool.
Low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hey, you know, you might want to fire here on Memorial Day weekend.
Definitely a barbecue for sure.
Fouls it back. Two balls and 2 strikes the count. 2 away here. With Robertson leading off at first base. Kipnis, the tying run at the plate. And they'll take a look at Robertson first. And this is back to Strom, underhand flip to Cuthbert, and that'll do it here in the 6th inning. We head to the 7th here in Cleveland, 4-2 Kansas City. Third straight year they'll take on the Golden State Warriors. I guess you could say this is the rubber series of the finals. Warriors won a couple years ago. Cavs won last year. Game 1 NBA Finals Thursday, June 1st in Oakland. And the first pitch, Salvador Perez skies one to right center, called by Austin Jackson, caught by Austin Jackson, one away. Well, beginning June 15th, the greatest players in the world descend upon Erin Hills in Wisconsin for one of golf's most anticipated events of the year. Dustin Johnson looks to defend his title, but Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy are primed to tame golf's ultimate test and be crowned America's champion. The 117th U.S. Open begins June 15th on Fox FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I got to play the course last week. It is spectacular.
Wait a second. You're just dropping that on me like it's nothing. You played the Open course last week?
Just last week.
Where was my invite?
I'm sorry. You were busy.
Never too busy to play Erin Hills. Wow. Thanks a lot.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Rub it in now.
Jorge Bonifacio is ahead of the count, 2 balls and no strikes against Nick Goody.
What'd you do? Fly in on your private jet? Fly back out?
Who am I, Tom Verducci? I don't have a private jet. Come on.
Jeez. I'm out in my little Muni course, and you're out there playing Erin Hills.
Good slider, 2-1. I will say this. People will enjoy watching it on TV.
Yeah, it looks fabulous.
Pretty.
It really does.
First U.S. Open ever held in the state of Wisconsin. Fastball's fouled back, 2-2. If you ever do go out there, I mean, you might as well play Whistling Straits as well.
I'll just mention your name.
Fastball is up high. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Bonifacio, who doubled and scored his last time up in the 6th inning. That got the rally going against the starter Danny Salazar. Brandon Moss is on deck. Slider foul tipped into the mitt, and there's a strikeout number 2 for Goody. Alex Gordon in that 6th inning came through with a base-loaded single up the middle. That scored Bonifacio. Then Escobar, line 1. That just confounded Francisco Lindor. And that scored 2. 2 away, and I beg your pardon, that was the 3rd strikeout for Goody. Here's Moss. He walked and scored his last time up. Pops one up. Left field, foul territory, and that'll reach the seats.
At the bottom of the Kansas City lineup doing some damage today. The bottom 4 hitters have been on base 8 times. 4 times via the walk. And I think we got to see Danny Salazar in a nutshell today. You know, the shaky start, 1st inning continuing to be a problem. Fastball command, a problem. And at times electric stuff. Just not often enough for Cleveland.
Fastball in the inside corner. Good pitch there by Goody. 0-2 to Moss. Pulled foul. Rusty Kuntz at first base, alertly ducking out of the way.
One of the best in the biz right there.
Yep.
Nobody can decode pitchers' tells like Rusty. Spends hours and hours studying video.
Broken bat into center field. Coming in is Jackson, and he will make the running catch to end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning here in the 7th. It's stretch time in Cleveland. 4-2 Royals. Royals lead the Indians. Francisco Lindor leading things off against Matt Strahm. Strahm came in relief of Vargas. Got the final out in the 6th. Lindor homered his first time up, has since struck out and grounded out on a very nice play by Moustakas, and the fastball is outside for ball 1. Here's a surprising note in the year of surprises thus far in Major League Baseball. The Indians are 8-12 at home this year. That's the lowest winning percentage in the American League, 3rd lowest in all of baseball.
Doesn't make any sense. There's really not a reason for it. I'm sure that will turn around. Too good of a club to play losing baseball anywhere, especially at home.
3 balls and no strikes to Lindor.
This is where Matt Strom has to be his own pitching coach. A little conversation with himself to start attacking right here. Don't invite trouble with a leadoff walk. And you saw the numbers coming into this appearance. 13 walks and a little more than 14 innings. Command obviously a key with that fastball. Trust it. Be in attack mode.
Lindor fouls it back, 3-2. Dave Violin, the pitching coach, looking on. Again, if you joined us late, both Ned Yost and Eric Hosmer were ejected in the first inning for the Royals. And that misses inside, a leadoff walk to Lindor here in the 7th. Lindor and Michael Brantley, each with hits in their first at-bats, are joined by Zach Cozart as the only players in the majors this year with 2 hitting streaks of at least 10 or more games.
Doesn't sound like a lot when you compare him to Joe D, but hitting streaks aren't what they used to be. The reason I say that, Justin, is we all know about home runs, right? A record rate of home runs per game, what we're seeing now. But at the same time, we have the fewest hits per game since the advent of the DH in 1973. There's just not a lot of hits out there, especially the single. So these long hitting streaks, I love long hitting streaks, following them on a daily basis. You don't get a lot of those anymore.
So let me ask you this question. Everyone talks about unbreakable records. Obviously, the way the game is played now with rest, Cal Ripken's streak unbreakable.
Cy Young's 511 wins.
Unbreakable. Will we see a hitting streak of 56 or more games?
I don't think so. I mean, listen, is it possible? I guess it's possible, but you're talking about now what Pete Rose got to 44. People aren't really even getting close to it in this generation. It's not even being threatened.
0-2. Did he go? He did, says David Rackley. And that time I do think he went around.
Yeah, that's another funky swing, though. Slider got him. Watch, he realizes too late. Sometimes you wear this. Some guys are wearing the sunglasses to the plate, some aren't. Brantley just didn't see that one.
1 out for Carlos Santana.
Now, he's old school. He's got the eye black.
Eye black, pine tar.
I'm glad you brought up the pine tar. He leads the league in pine tar. I'd hate to be the equipment manager and have to wash that uniform every day because he bounces the bat on the shoulder. And look how much pine tar is on that bat.
Look at his back shoulder.
Now, there is a rule, by the way, about the amount of pine tar you can have on your bat. It cannot go beyond 18 inches from the handle of the bat. It's Rule 301C. Of course, every Royals fan knows about that, right? The George Brett pine tar game. The greatest snappage in baseball history. But at the time, there was a rule that there was a penalty for using excessive pine tar. He was declared out.
Here's what you're talking about.
Here
1983.
it is. I never get tired of this. Absolute bomb at Yankee Stadium. Puts the Royals ahead. Now the plate's 17 inches, so they measured that, and they ruled him out.
Talk about never getting old is seeing that. That's just.
So Lee McPhail was the American League president. He actually overruled the umpires. That was Tim McClellan, the home plate umpire there. The Royals had to fly into New York to resume the game and play the last 4 outs. I actually covered the resumption of that game. There's about 1,200 people there. This
and
is
knowing you probably counted them.
No, but there's another Billy Martin story, of course. Remember, Brett hit the home run, and that was in July. The resumption of the game was August 18th, 1983. So it was an entirely different umpiring crew.
Up high, ball 4, so walks around the strikeout.
So Billy Martin, first thing he does, got a pitching change here. He appeals that Brett didn't touch the bases on his home run before a pitch is thrown in the resumption. Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire, pulls out a piece of paper. It's a signed affidavit from the 4 umpires who worked the original game, swearing and attesting to the fact that George Brett did touch all the bases. So they knew all about Billy Martin and his tricks.
Well, we've got a pitching change. Peter Moylan's coming in with runners on first and second, 1 out here in the 7th. Tires for superior performance all season long. Goodyear, more driven. Beautiful Memorial Day weekend here in Cleveland, Ohio. Bottom half of the 7th, first and second, 1 out. Pitching change. Peter Moylan is now in to face Edwin Encarnacion.
2 seamers in, sliders away.
Drops down with that slider. 22 games, the ERA you don't want to look at. 16 in the 3rd innings, 8 walks, 13 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .303 against him. Encarnacion has singled each of his last 2 at-bats, trying to come through here. And a fastball in underneath the hands, and he's behind in the count, 0-2.
Now he can expand with that sweeping slider. He's got about an 11-12 mile-an-hour differential between the 2-seamer and the slider.
There it was, able to lay off was Encarnacion.
Had a little more swing and miss in his game this year with this slow start. Typically one of the better contact hitters with power.
One, two. Played perfectly. Merrifield flips to Escobar to first. A 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Moylan comes in and does the job. We go to the 8th, 4-2 Royals. Further so you can. And by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. Top of the 8th here at Progressive Fields in downtown Cleveland, Ohio. A new pitcher into the game for the Indians, the right-hander Dan Otero. A 3.57 ERA in 16 games, 17 2/3 innings, 4 walks, 13 strikeouts. Opponents batting .260 against him. He'll face 8-9-1 in the order. Merrifield, Gordon, and Escobar.
Otero a little bit like Moylan, just more conventionally with the delivery. Sinker slider guy, mixing a changeup as well, but loves to run his two-seamer into the right-handed hitters.
Merrifield walked and scored his last time up. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Couple of walks. Infield single. And he's behind in the count, 0-2. So remember how I said I thought that Merrifield reminds me of Randy Velarde?
Yeah, I said that was a good call.
Randy Velarde was the only player to ever give me a ball as a kid. And Merrifield chased the high fastball to go down, swinging for out number 1.
Randy Velarde as a New York Yankee?
As a New York Yankee, was playing catch, warming up. I think maybe with Jim Leyritz, but don't quote me on it. And when he was done, he threw it into the stands, and I caught it.
And what'd you do with that baseball?
I think I still have it back at my parents' house.
You didn't play with it. Huh?
Don't worry, it's not like Sandlot. I didn't go out and play with it. No. Alex Gordon had a big RBI single his last time up.
Well, Randy Velarde, no offense, is not exactly Babe Ruth either.
That is true, but as a kid growing up, when a Major League Baseball player gives you a baseball, you don't touch that one again. 1 ball and 1 strike.
There is something magical about just a Major League Baseball, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
The pearls that they are. And as a kid, you never play with pearl, right? It's dirty right away. It lasts forever. And then you see in Major League Baseball, and it's a diamond.
Joaquin Soria throwing one of those diamonds in the bullpen right now for the Royals. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gordon. One of my first autographs as a kid was Mark Gubaza. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
How was his signature? The handwriting. Could you read, make out the name?
Yeah, I got Lou Whitaker's one time, and he actually wrote out Lewis.
Nice. Because handwriting has gone downhill. That's for everybody, not just ball players.
Broken back, ground ball third. Ramirez makes the play, 2 away. Tomorrow on Fox, the Monster Energy Cup Series heats up under the lights in Charlotte for the longest race of the season. It's the Coca-Cola 600 at 5:30 Eastern, only on Fox. See, those are things that obviously I remember. They stay with you. You go to the ballpark as a kid. I saw a kid yesterday in the elevator. He was holding a ball. But foul by Escobar. I asked him if he got it autographed by anybody. He said, yeah, Michael Brantley. And it was just like, it was so nonchalant for him. If that were me as a kid growing up, I'd be like, yeah, Michael Brantley, oh my God.
I bet that kid's a Michael Brantley fan now if he wasn't before.
Actually, you ready for this? His father goes, you know what the worst part is? He's a Red Sox fan. And he's got all these Indians things. No balls and 2 strikes. The count here to Escobar. Otero trying to work a 1-2-3-8. In the dirt, 1-2.
Well, Escobar had the biggest hit in the game with that 2-run double. And Ned Yost said it best. You know, sometimes I get tired of watching his at-bats batting leadoff. Guy gets on base less than 30% of the time. Leading off doesn't make sense. But they win despite it.
And he chases a slider right there to end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning work by Otero. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Ramirez, Gomes, and Jackson. Bottom half of the 8th inning, Royals lead the Indians, and the last couple of innings, double plays have been big. Austin Jackson in the 6th, a 6-4-3 double play helped settle things down for Vargas. In the 7th, it was Moylan coming in and doing the job, facing Encarnacion, the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. And now he hands the ball over to Joakim Soria, who at one time was the all-star closer for the Royals. It seems like a lifetime ago. Now the setup man for Kelvin Herrera. A 1.66 ERA, 21 2/3 innings, 9 walks, 26 strikeouts, and he'll face Jose Ramirez. And Ramirez, batting from the left side, takes strike 1.
Both of those double plays, those innings, began with leadoff walks. Royals able to pitch around it. Soria been very good getting the leadoff hitter and does it once again. That's 19 out of 21 times he has retired the leadoff batter. That's huge when you're protecting a lead late. Shorten the inning.
Joakim Soria is one of those rare relievers. You talked about it just before about guys now only needing 2 pitches when you're in the bullpen. He's one of those guys who's been a closer who has 4 pitches, legit 4 pitches.
Yeah, reminds me of Mike Montgomery. Not Mike Montgomery. The Royals right-hander Jeff Montgomery was a guy with almost starter stuff, pitching late in the game. That's Soria as well. You see still decent velocity on the fastball, excellent changeup, and sometimes he flips up that really slow curveball. Battle tested.
One ball, 1 strike to Gomes. Just missing. 2-1. Fastball missing. 3 balls and a strike.
See, Sal Perez has been very explicit with the target. Down and away, almost out of the strike zone. He's got to come into the zone now. It's got to be a challenge pitch right here. Fastball away.
Swing and a miss. 3-2.
That is the kind of pitch you leave the dugout hoping to see. Fastball and a fastball count, middle. I don't know what, something happened there with Sal. I'm not sure if he got nicked, didn't see the pitch. So Bill Wilkie gave him a minute there to get himself back on track. Going off speed here.
And he's got the strikeout. 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th for Soria. MLB.com At Bat is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get club branded home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com At Bat today.
Now that's the sign of a battle-tested pitcher with Soria throwing that 3-2 changeup.
Comes back with a fastball against Austin Jackson to start things off. Jackson 0 for 3. Sean Armstrong warming up in the bullpen for Cleveland. Breaking ball is pulled foul. That was a hanger. So he's gotten away with a couple of pitches in this inning.
You a little bit surprised Zimmer doesn't get in bat here? The left-hander against Soria.
You know, I wasn't even thinking about it, but 2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, it's a legit thought. The rookie, he's got the batting gloves on and ready.
Looks like he may be saving him for Robertson and representing the tying run. You got to get someone on here.
They will not, as Jackson strikes out. 1, 2, 3 for Soria. We go to the 9th here in Cleveland. 4-2 Kansas City. Robinson statue out here at Progressive Field. 4-2 top of the 9th. The big hit in the game came in the 6th inning. Alcides Escobar, the line drive that fooled Francisco Lindor into the gap in left center field, scored 2. That is the difference in the game right now, as we are in the 9th inning and a new pitcher into the game for the Indians. It is the right-hander Shawn Armstrong. 8 games, 1-0, a 5.73 ERA. 11 innings, 6 walks, 12 strikeouts. He'll face Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, and Cheslor Cuthbert. How about this for Moustakas? Has seen 14 pitches today. He's swung at 13 of them. And make it now, swung at 14, and he's just homered on the first pitch in the 9th. Moustakas with his 13th home run of the season.
We've talked about it all game. He's become a different hitter. Hyper aggressive. You almost have to pitch him when he steps in the boxes if the count is 0-2. First pitch fastball up. See you later.
And Kansas City, they'd be yelling Moose. Cain fouls the first one back. Moustakas with his 13th homer. So he has seen 15 pitches, swung at 14 of them. And he's made contact on 10 of them because he's fouled off. Well, no, he's actually made contact with even more than that. With 12 of them. 12 of the 15 pitches he's seen, he's made contact with.
He was disappointed when they used that new intentional walk rule where they don't throw any pitches. He would have swung at those.
In the dirt. High fastball, big swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kane. So you said earlier for this Royals team, which is on the verge of taking the first 2 games of this series, they've got Herrera warming up in the bullpen. A 3-run lead here in the 9th. That you hang on till July to see where you are as far as trading some of these players. Kane chases that slider for the first out. Herrera, the guy warming up in the bullpen, the closer, he could be the biggest trade bait they have.
Absolutely. The guy who started the game, Jason Vargas, has trade value. I just think I look at Kansas City right now, 7 games over 500. If you can get to mid-July around 500, that's not asking a lot. That puts you right in the race. The New York Mets in August last year were 2 games under 500 and made the postseason. And don't forget the way the new CBA has reconfigured compensation for free agents. You're no longer guaranteed that first-round pick if you play it out with your players and let them sign elsewhere. A little more motivation to trade a player if you want to look at it that way. But for Kansas City, without a runaway team in this division, with all due respect to Minnesota, it's very premature to start talking about backing up a truck.
That's a 55-footer right there by Sean Armstrong. 2 balls and a strike to Cuthbert. Cuthbert came in to play first base really the entire game because Eric Hosmer was ejected in the top of the 1st inning. Cuthbert to center field, and Cheslor Cuthbert picks up his 2nd hit of the day. This was back in the 1st. Eric Hosmer against Salazar, thought he checked his swing. David Rackley said, no, you didn't. He had some words for him. Then home plate umpire Bill Wilkie said, you're gone. Ned Yost came out. You're gone.
Left-handed umpire. You notice that, Bill Wilkie? It's a pretty good signal he's got there for an ejection. Not too often, by the way, you see an off umpire eject the player. Right. The comments were directed to the third base umpire, but obviously Bill Wilkie was standing right next to him.
By the way, Ned Yost, talking to him today, when we asked him about Frank Robinson, you said Hank Aaron's going to be here.
Boy, did he light up.
He lit up. Hank's here? And he told us a story. It was Hank Aaron who got him into coaching and then managing. Salvador Perez takes the first pitch for a strike.
You can tell he's forever indebted for that.
I mean, he said he had just finished his playing career, his spring training. He was done. He's home. He was out, and he comes back, and his wife said, you have a message from a Hank Aaron. And he thought, yeah, okay, who's playing a trick on me? The next day, Hank Aaron calls him back. And he says they're looking for a player coach in AA Greenville, South Carolina. They want a veteran catcher to help some of their pitchers out with the Braves organization. Some of those pitchers, Tom Glavine, Kent Merker. So he goes to AA Greenville and is a player coach for a couple years. Also on that team, Ron Gant, David Justice, Jeff Blauser, basically
Lemke.
All the guys who were part of that World Series run.
Pretty good team in AA.
Yeah. And he said that's how it all happened. Ground ball shortstop. Lindor takes a nice stop. And they turn two, a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. Moustakas gets an insurance run. Here comes Herrera trying to close out the Indians. Superior performance all season long. Goodyear more driven. Bottom of the ninth inning here from Cleveland. Great crowd on hand here today, 30,920. As Kelvin Herrera comes in, trying to close the door, pick up his 11th save of the season. 4 walks to 20 strikeouts. The ERA at 4.05. And he'll face a pinch hitter here in the rookie Bradley Zimmer. 292, a home run, 3 RBIs for Zimmer.
We know all about the velocity from Herrera, upper 90s. Changeup at 90. The difference to me is the slider. He's been trusting the slider a lot more as a legitimate third pitch.
So if you were Zimmer, would you rather have faced Soria or Herrera?
That's a tough question. I'd probably say Soria, but you know his mix of pitches makes him a difficult AB, especially if you don't have history against him. Did he go? Yes, he did.
Fouls it straight back at 99. 1-2.
To me, this is where I think Herrera is so difficult, because he can elevate even higher with that fastball. Go changeup or slider. That was the changeup at 91.
Remember, the starter Jason Vargas couldn't get it 290 with his fastball. That was a 91-mile-per-hour changeup. And now he goes 98 fastball right by Zimmer for out number 1.
Stepping in now for the Indians, number 22.
Premium octane, especially coming back off of the 91-mile-an-hour changeup. It's got some run on it. 2-seamer. That's just not fair.
1 out, top of the order, Jason Kipnis. Imagine how different this game would be if that ball was 2 inches the other way. Would have been a grand slam at the time, would have broken the game wide open. Instead, Kansas City has fought back, taken a lead at 5-2. Numbers for Kipnis against Herrera.
The one thing Terry Francona talked to us about was the inability to add on with the Cleveland offense. It looked like maybe they were adding 4 right here, but by a matter of inches, just foul.
It was a 2-1 game at the time. Would have made it a 6-1 ball game after the pop out, the broken bat, and now a changeup and a strikeout. And there are 2 outs, and the Indians are 1 out away from going to 8-13 at home on the season.
Don't forget, last night they held 4-0 lead and gave up 6 unanswered runs. Today they're up 2-1. The Royals once again coming from behind.
The Indians have lost 4 in a row here at home. Francisco Lindor turns around to bat lefty against the righty Herrera. Homer back in the first to tie the game at 1, has since struck out, grounded out, and walked. Able to lay off that slider. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, that is nasty. That's a ball. It's a good take by Lindor, but you can see how nasty that 3rd pitch is. Lots of weapons for Kelvin Herrera.
Ripped to right field into the corner. Lindor will head to second base. He'll be in there with a 2-out double, and that will bring the tie. Excuse me, that'll bring not the tying run thanks to the home run by Moustakas, but that'll bring now Michael Brantley to the plate, extend the game.
Change up that hangs up.
That's the 14th double of the year for Lindor.
As you mentioned, though, 3-run lead. He's got room to make a mistake.
That's how big that insurance run is. When you're up by 1 or 2 and you get that 1 more, that gives you that little bit of breathing room. Brantley's job now is to get on base to bring Santana to the plate. It was the home run by Moustakas. Ground ball, first base. Cuthbert throws to Herrera, covering, and that will do it. The Royals won last night 6-4. They win today by the score of 5-2. And once again, they come from behind to get the victory. A big 2-run double by Alcides Escobar, the insurance run, the home run by Moustakas. A 5-2 victory, and with the win, they move to 21-27 on the season, while the Indians fall to 24-23. The winning pitcher is Vargas. He moves to 6-3. Salazar falls to 3-5, and Herrera picks up his 11th save.
Yeah, 2 really good wins back-to-back by Kansas City, as you mentioned, coming from behind and winning 2 bullpen games against statistically what had been the best bullpen in the league.
You wonder how much fatigue is starting to play in, or if it's just one of those moments in a season where you have a little downtime for a bullpen for a couple of guys. But the starters haven't given the Indians length. Now it's 3 games in a row. The bullpen has given up some leads. Is this where the lack of length of your starting rotation is starting to catch up to the wear and tear for your bullpen?
I think so. I think the good news, though, is the way that Corey Kluber pitched in a rehab game last night. 5 innings, threw less than 50 pitches in 5 innings. That's how sharp he was, and he will make his next start in the big leagues next week for the Indians.
You know what's good news for the Royals? The way that Mike Moustakas swung the bat here today. He joins us now from the field. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. We put up a number. You saw 15 pitches today. You swung, I believe, at 13 of them, or 14 of them.
That's kind of what it felt like today.
You were disappointed when they walked you.
Yeah.
And the last one was the home run. What is your approach right now at the plate?
You know, I'm just trying to get a good pitch right now and put a good swing on it. I went through a little. Ooh, that's cold. Yeah. That's cold. That's cold. I went through a little dry spell. That's pretty good for a little bit. Now just kind of getting out of the zone. And you know, today I was getting some pitches to hit, and you know, was fouling a bunch off. And with Salazar on the mound, this guy you don't want to take too many pitches on, and you don't want him to get to that secondary stuff. And I was just trying to put the ball in play early.
Mike, I know you guys, and you're one of them. A lot of guys in their last year, the contract, a lot of talk about what may happen come July. But talk about the here and now, the way Kansas City is playing. Do you feel like you are turning a corner to kind of put all that talk aside?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as you guys know, it's a long season, 162 games, and I mean, anything could happen throughout the entire year. I mean, we started off pretty rough, but you know, with this group of guys we have here, we're resilient. We've been doing this together for way too long now to let that bother us. So, you know, what we do is we come out every single day ready to win a baseball game, no matter where we're at, and all that other stuff's going to take care of itself at the end of the year. So. We're pretty focused on the task at hand, which is hard enough already. You know, baseball's not easy, and then if we're trying to focus on all these other things going on, it's just makes it a lot more difficult.
Hey, Mike, last question for us up here. First inning, Hosmer gets ejected. Your manager, Ned Yost, gets ejected. What's the mentality? What do you guys go through at that point? What's being said? That's the first inning.
Yeah, you know, it was a heck of a way to start the day, that's for sure. You know, you lose your manager, you lose your Gold Glove All-Star first baseman, but you know, we got to keep going on. You know, Haas obviously, I mean, he means a lot to this team and this club. But you know, Chesler filled in nice, got 2 hits for him, and you know, if anything, we might have needed a little bit. We needed a little boost, and came out and played pretty good. And you know, mad respect to Haas for standing up for what he believed in, and mad respect for Ned for helping him out. So it was a good thing for both of them.
Well, you guys got the win today. You had a heck of a day as well. 3 hits, including that home run. Thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on the victory, and go enjoy this nice night.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Mike Moustakas in the Royals with a victory here today in Cleveland by the score of 5-2. They take the first 2 games of this series. The finale is tomorrow. Danny Duffy against Josh Tomlin. But the Indians, who came into this year as really the favorites, not just in the AL Central, but the American League, are now 24-23 here on May 27th.
I thought before the game, Terry Francona found the exact right word: inconsistent, both in terms of starting pitching and offensively as well. Very talented team. Don't get me wrong, they are definitely going to be in the mix for winning this division again. But right now, a lack of consistency now has gone on for 2 months.
Yes, it has. Well, for Tom Verducci and all of us here in Cleveland, on a day when they honored Frank Robinson as the first African-American manager in Major League Baseball history, the Indians could not pull out the victory. Instead, it's the Royals, 5-2. After this, we'll get you back to L.A., KB, and EK.